All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Two Beers with the Band. I'm your host, Chris Schrum, and this is my second interview with LeVan The Man. And you were just listening to a new song of his called Calms that I found on YouTube, and I really enjoyed that song. The only thing I didn't enjoy about the song is that it was so short. But outside of that, I did enjoy the song. So, Levan, why don't you let everybody know what you're sipping on while I get mine poured in the glass?
What's good, everybody? My name is LeVan The Man, and today, once again, we're sipping on Modelo Especial. But it's that big body Modelo Especial. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, I just got back from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Um, Basically, it's right beside Gatlinburg, up in the mountains of East Tennessee. And there's a brewery out that way called Iron Forge. And this is Little Pigeon. It is a amber lager. It's 5.5% ABV, and it's brewed at Iron Forge Brewing Company. And as we can see, is a beautiful brown color. It has a slightly creamy off-white head. Has pretty good aroma.
Ooh. I wish
Oh,
I wish y'all could hear you could hear this beer. It is talking to me right now.
what's that beer saying?
It says get ready to enjoy a grand drink and a grand interview.
Okay, well, cheers to a grand drink and a grand interview.
Mm.
Man, wow. Wow, that is nice. That beer has really good flavors that don't stick around. It's medium body. And when I say don't stick around, it doesn't have a lingering aftertaste. It has good flavors. It's almost a light medium body.
Mm.
I'm getting a little bit of caramel. I'm getting a little bit of walnut. I'm getting just a little bit of vanilla. I think maybe I'm reading into it a little too much, but I'm getting a very light hoppiness on the back to kind of clean it up. It is not sweet at all. Normally, or in the past, I've had amber lagers that were a little too sweet and the sweetness lingered, so
Mm-hmm.
I didn't enjoy them. But this one, it has a touch of sweet at the front, and then the hops just comes in there and cleans it up. Man, oh gosh, I did not get enough of these. And it's not available here in Nashville, so
I was about to say that sounds
don't
like an exclusive thing.
don't know what I'm gonna do about this. I'm gonna have to talk to somebody and see if I can get some of this brought to Nashville. But
Get
in the
that airdrop.
meantime, I think we left off our last interview um, talking about mental health and mental health in music and your mental health when it comes to music. What are your thoughts on mental health in music?
Okay, so mental health and music. My thoughts on that is music is a form of healing. first off, it's a form of expression. So whoever the creator or creators are, usually make the song or the arrangement of notes coming from a mood. A lot of the times, people go into music with a theme, the message, and with that theme comes the mood. Comes to how you want the audience or the viewers or listeners to perceive that. Usually, it's a pretty direct feeling. With that song, it's matched with the image. It could be the cover art, or it could even get to a point where it's with something cinematic, um, and that can really make a balance on how the person feels. If I'm not mistaken, before I had mentioned ambient music, and
Mhm.
sometimes I personally like to listen to when I want to meditate, or if I'm just going through something difficult, something troublesome. Um, and then there are a couple of genres of music that can heighten, how do I say, heighten the more energized side of it, but it can turn to negative if the volume's too high, or if the music is at a low frequency. Those two being drill music and rage music, which derive from hip hop or rap. I say rather rap than anything. Um, yes, I do listen to both of those, but I do in moderation. Just like with anything that you take or listen to, you do it in moderation. But too much of it, that can cloud and pollute how you feel. That can mess with your mental. And so I feel like it's important to know and be aware that certain music will alter your mood. Music to me is almost like a drug. It could be a prescribed drug. I'm just saying drug. It's a loose term. Um, but too much of a drug can alter how you feel, can alter your mood. It can be permanent if you listen to it long enough or you take it long enough. But again, mental health and music is very important. As much as it can divide people, it can bring people together. You know, there's the gospel. You go to church, people have that type of music. Then there's usually specific instruments that are associated with different music. Gospel to be specific, you got the tambourine, you got the organ, different types of pianos. Usually the drums are included in that, and you could even go to say like the choir is an instrument, the voice of rather it be a solo or whether it be a group of people. Have those different notes, those different keys, which really can make you feel a certain way, whether
Yep.
it's at a funeral or you're just going to your Sunday service. But yeah, mental health definitely is infused with music, no matter what it is. It's just a part. It's just a part of music. If we didn't have an emotion or a feeling of how we wanted to convey our message through music, I don't even think music would really be a thing. And the bass, I feel like the basis of all music derives from jazz and blues, which you can kind of interchange it too, but jazz is the root of it all. From from the from the scat jazz, which can can almost be like a heart rate. You see, it'll go up and down, kind of fluctuate to something that's more core and smooth, like smooth jazz to be in a sense. Rock comes from jazz. A lot of hip hop samples jazz. A lot of those like early 80s, 90s hip hop samples that jazz, which brings you back to, how that mood and that feel you want to go with. Something you want to go with something chill. You usually use like the bass line, the cellos, the bass. If you want something a little bit more vibrant or the contrast with the cellos, you got the trumpets, you got the baritones, you have the different brass instruments. But yeah, jazz is the root of it all, in my opinion. And that goes back to mental health and music.
Okay, you spoke of meditation a little while ago. How
Mm-hmm.
often do you meditate? And do you think that artists that don't meditate should?
Okay, so I feel like I can say I meditate every day. Now there are different forms of meditation. There's what everybody usually thinks of when they initially hear meditation. They think of somebody sitting in a specific pose, derivative of yoga, which ideally that's what people do. But some forms of meditation can come from making music, making a beat, or writing music. Um, it could even go to exercising. Like that's another thing that I do every day. I try to make it to where I can have at least 30 minutes of exercising. 10 of the 30 could be. I'll say at least like 45, because about 10 minutes I'll do a stretch routine. That alone is allowing you to control your blood flow. Excuse me, your blood flow and your breathing patterns. And I feel like it's important to stretch. You don't want to overstretch, but being able to wake up as soon as you get out of bed, let stretching be the first thing you do. That alone will be able to allow your blood flow to go through. So I actually do think everybody meditates without them actually knowing. Maybe not the stereotypical meditation that everyone thinks of when they hear it, but yeah, I definitely can say artists do it. They have to get into that mode. You know, there's times when, I mean, you can see on some videos behind the scenes where artists is in the booth and they hear the song, like the song is good. One day they can just be out of the loop and they go about their day thinking about the song. Later that day, they can come back and boom, it's there. Something happened in that day, or they just roll over to the next day, and a whole new day, they're able to return back to the studio and get right back in tune. But it's definitely a universal thing. I think everyone meditates, and all musicians and artists of all forms meditate. Most definitely.
Well, I know exercise is important for the physical body. Do you think exercise is important for mental health?
Most definitely, discipline. Discipline is one of the key factors, I think, for any and everyone to exercise. With discipline, you're able to form good habits, good routines, even able to replace the old ones you have, which is something that I personally have gone through the past 3 months. During like the summers when I really, probably like maybe midway towards the end of the summer, I started doing the 30-day workout plan. I'd say 28 to about 30 days straight. I'll do an exercise routine. And the first week, it was somewhat of a struggle because I would skip some days, and then I'd sit and think to myself, if I really want to shape myself the way I want to, like in a literal sense, then I'm gonna have to get up and do it. Does it have to be at the same time of the day? No, but it's better to schedule it in your mind or write it down, type it in your phone to make it a point that you're doing this process because you want to better yourself, because you want to carve out something that you've had before, or just, again, you just want to improve yourself. You want to make yourself feel better. And it's about a feeling thing too. I feel like once you're in that process of exercising, you can get in your mind, or I get in my mind myself, and I'll be like, I'm doing this, and then once I start, I can't stop because the blood's pumping, I'm sweating, um, my breath. I'm starting to learn how to control my breath. I'm getting out of breath doing certain things, and it's like you don't want to rush your process. You want to be able to sharpen it, almost perfect it. No such thing as perfection, but that's what we all strive for. So definitely mental health and exercising is one of those things. Discipline is a key factor to everything if you want to improve.
Well, if you get in that mindset when you're exercising, that you have a goal in mind. I'm going to do this. I'm breathing. I'm in the flow. Do you think, or can you take that same mindset and put it to music?
Yes, for the sole purpose of rhythm. I feel like music is a huge part of my life, and anyone who is a musician at some point, rather you have ADD, ADHD, or any other thing, or you don't have anything of that sort, you start to connect music with everything. And back to the whole exercise factor in music, you have reps and then you have sets. The reps are the like you're doing push-ups. You're gonna do in one set of push-ups you do like 25 reps. There's a thing I like to do every day is 100 push-ups a day.
Every day.
I like to do I try to strive for it every day, and it sounds crazy, but
No,
when you
it actually it doesn't sound crazy, but there are so many people who, when they think about doing 100 push-ups every
hmm
day, it just blows their mind. But like you said, once you get focused and once you do it and once it's repetitive,
hmm
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mean to say it's not a big deal because 100 push ups a day can be a big deal, especially depending on, what you've done that day or what you've done the day before. It might be difficult to do 100 push ups, but if you break it up over a 24-hour period, it's really not that difficult.
exactly, exactly. Ideally, I like to keep it within a 10-minute time period. Now, the way that I go about it is breaking it down into sets. You can do 5 sets of 20, or you can do 4 sets of 25. That's usually what I strive for,
Yeah,
just so it doesn't take too long. If you want, you can do more sets with lesser reps, so you can have more time to recover. But doing it with 25 every 4 sets, that gives me time, 30 seconds, maybe 45, enough for me to get my breathing pattern, control my breathing, relax, then get right back in the tune. That alone, breathing pattern. Now I want to make this very clear. Breathing pattern is very important when you're vocalizing in any type of genre, but specifically hip hop and rap. Because me personally, I don't like when people go off beat, but sometimes it works. It works. Now there are times when you can be on beat and you have a lot you want to say, but if you try to cram all those words, almost like a sentence, you're trying to cram all these words in a sentence instead of putting a comma, which is your pause or your breather, it just sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo, or it's just like a barrage of words being thrown at somebody's ears, and they're like, literally like that. That's how I feel about it. So to tie that into music with exercise, those sets and those reps, that goes with a rhythm, which goes with the cadence, which goes with, in other words, the flow. So you're able to take a break. When I do my 25 push-ups, okay, I'm like, boom, I did my 25. I'm gonna take my 30 minute, get back to it, get my breath, then I go right back into the flow. I like to apply that with music. Again, you have different cadences, different flows, and you can almost compare that to how many sets you do or how many reps you do in a set. That's I feel like that's probably one of my best analogies I've put with exercise and music.
Do
The
you
sets with the flow.
do you have a gym playlist on your phone or
Mm.
a workout playlist or something like that?
You know, I used to have like one ideal like playlist, but I started to experiment with it. So I one day I could go with how do I say, like one day I really don't listen to EDM like that, but when it comes to the intensity to exercising, sometimes I'll play a whole playlist of that, or I might end up going into like what is it, like meditation music, where it's just literally like synthesizers, calming synthesizers, pads, leads, nothing too hyper crazy. It's a lot of calming music, and even when I'm doing burpees, I'm listening to that. But I do it because I want to see how it makes me feel while I'm exercising, no matter the intensity of the exercise. And with listening to that type of music, I feel like it gets me into a more focused, calm, relaxed workflow when I'm exercising, as opposed to me listening to like Waka Flocka, which can still get me hype. I'm going hard in the motherfucking paint, you know. I'm in the mode. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm hitting these push-ups or I'm hitting these jumping jacks, whatever the case is. Um, but it's interesting because I like to switch it up. I like to switch it up. I feel like sometimes sticking with the same thing has its pros and its cons. But it's the more that I make music and produce music, I find myself going out of the boundaries in which I set myself into.
What do you want people to feel when they hear your music?
Pardon me. Essentially, I want them to feel how I'm feeling, and I I believe you can feel that through the instruments that I play, all the way down to the beats per minute. Usually, my beats per minute for my songs range from like 125 to 140. And interestingly enough, you can use one same BPM and make a completely different mood of a song. I feel like a lot of my, how do I say this? A lot of my better songs or my best songs that people tell me, or it shows when they listen to it, as far as like the comments or the streams go, as a lot of my I like to call them blue songs, or my blue period songs, meaning like those deep emotion songs. A lot of people like those songs more, as opposed to like my regular hip hop beats or rap beats. But I feel like that's something that I draw more to, and I'm able to put channel more my blue emotions into, my sadder or my sorrow emotions into. So it's like it kind of it really comes from just just how I'm feeling at that moment. A lot of the times though, I feel like I can get into my DAW and my digital audio workstation, and if I have a melody just in my head playing over and over again, I'll lay that down. And really, when it comes to this music production, for me, I kind of just go with the flow of how I'm feeling. You know, I can make a whole beat pattern, a whole drum pattern, and it sounds good with the initial melody. But then I end up scrapping it. It could be from something upbeat, a lot of 808s, and then I end up adding a piano or a harp, and now I don't want to use 808s anymore. Um, I really want people to feel how I'm feeling when I make those beats. At the same time, somebody might perceive it in a different way. And I feel like with just instruments, you usually could get an idea of what the producer or the producers are trying to say with their music.
It seems like you listen to a wide variety of music and you pull from a diverse, I guess, what am I trying to say? So many different styles of music.
Hmm.
So, what genres of music do you listen to on the regular? And I used to ask this question, but it doesn't really apply that often anymore. But I would say, what are the top six presets on your car radio? But most people don't listen to, you know, car radios anymore. They have playlists on their phone or whatever, and
Yeah.
they plug into it that way. They don't listen to just regular radio. But if you did, what would you listen to?
Okay, so I'm gonna try to like narrow it down. It's gonna go from specific eras to like vague. So to start off with, ooh, okay, gotcha, boom. I like to listen to like 80s, kind of like that the era of 80s where I don't know if you want to call it pop, but I'm trying to think of a song like off the top. I can't even think of a song off the top. But kind of like the classic 80s music, and that could be from the beginning to the end. Um, I'm trying to think like if I could just throw artists out there, who would I throw out there? Oh gosh, tell you what, I'm gonna get back to that. So just 80s music in general, not even specific genres, because I feel like that's one of those times where rather you were going with the beginning of hip hop, or you're going with the pop, or you're going with R&B in the 80s. Come on, man, you can't go wrong with that. Same thing with rock. You can't go. Come on, like I feel like that whole if you jump into that era, you're gonna find at least two genres, if not all the genres that you'll like. That's just me personally. Um, going back to where I started with because I was born in the '90s. 90s hip hop, of course. You got the grades, of course, Big Pac. Then you roll into LL Cool J, DMX, a lot of New York rap, um, all the way to West Coast rap, Ice Cube, Snoop, even DJ Quick. Um, then going towards the 2000s. 2000s. That was like when you had what Black Eyed Peas, you had Justin Timberlake, you had Missy Elliott, again you had DMX, again you had Jay Z, LL Cool J, Daft Punk,
Mm-hmm.
Daft Punk. That Daft Punk is one of those staples. Shout out to my mom for putting me on the Daft Punk because when we lived in I'm sorry to go off into this, but when I was like the 2000s, early 2000s, we lived in Germany. Father was in the military, so we lived in Germany. Um, we lived in Germany, and Daft Punk was like one of the first like electronic groups that I listened to or duos that I listened to. And when you think about it, if you play video games, you hear that type of music
Oh yeah,
in video games. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
So that's I gotta give props to Daft Punk. Then you have the Gorillas. Again, this is 2000s I'm talking about. Really, it's really a lot of what I grew up on, man. So 90s era, 2000s, like the early 2000s. I feel like you from the 80s to like the early 2000s, every single genre music was hitting everywhere. I mean, every genre. Like I said, you got pop, you got rock, you got rap, hip hop, you got R&B, you got even ambient music. I really started listening to ambient music in like the 20 teens. A group that I have been very, influenced by is two guys, a group called Boards of Canada. They've been making music for a while. A lot of people, a lot of underground artists sample from Boards of Canada. And I don't think Boards of Canada gets their props because they're a mix of like they electronic, but they also have like the ambient sound to it. And when I started listening to them, I think they turned me towards the whole meditation and then pulling the electronic side into my hip hop beats. If you listen to Calms, that one's heavily influenced by electronic music. A lot of the times when I make any type of beat, I try not to, but I end up going to a synthesizer, the synthesizer section, the synthesizer presets and plugins. I love using the pads because it gives that uh that airy sound, that light sound, which can really hold the frame of a beat versus doing the 808 or going with a cello. It gives it a softer tone. Um, shoot, that I think the only genre that I have some trouble listening to is country, but there are a few artists that I can listen to in country. Um, and I'm still trying to break that barrier so I can listen more to it. Um, Jazz music, like I said, I don't care what anybody says. Jazz is the root of it all. Jazz is the root of it all. It's the seed to the many branches of music. I feel like without jazz, you wouldn't have Elvis, you wouldn't have MJ, you wouldn't have. I mean, those are just to name a couple of the major people. You wouldn't have Prince. I mean, come on. And then Prince, that's another person. He's like I probably I should know, but I don't even know what you would categorize Prince's music as. But I feel like it's more rock than anything.
I th-
And
I think I've heard him categorized as funk, pop,
oh, for sure,
and
duh,
rock.
yeah, definitely funk.
And if I keep that in mind when I listen to his music, I can actually pick out in each song, I can pick that song apart and put it in those categories. And
Oh, that's for
you're,
sure.
yeah, you're right. Prince is just Prince. I mean, rest in peace.
He
He's himself. You know,
he's one of one.
yeah, he's one
He
of
did it.
one. There's
He
no
did it on
doubt
his
about
own.
that.
He started it off on his own. He
And
taught. He's self taught.
and I agree with you that country has its roots in jazz, blues, and hillbilly. And if you combine all three of those together, well,
Mm-hmm.
now you combine that with rock or pop. Let's take rock out and add pop. That's what this new stuff is. It's just the but good country, good country that
Yes.
tells a story and
Mm-hmm.
has musicians in the band.
Yes.
The roots of that music came from hillbilly, blues, jazz, and rock. And you combine it and add a few other instruments and tell a story, now it's a country song.
Amen.
What's your guilty pleasure song? The one song that you listen to that you love that no one would think you would enjoy.
Oh, guilty pleasure song. That's Oh, I gotta think. I know it's music that I play that people just don't like. I'm trying to remember what it is. There's a couple. Okay, okay. So if anybody is a wrestling fan, WCW, WWF/WWE, the great Macho Man Randy
Randy
Savage.
Savage.
He has a rap album. He has a rap album. And because it's Macho Man Randy Savage, that's why I like it. I could have said John Cena. John Cena can actually rap. He's a lyricist. He has flow. He has the bars. He can rap. He could put out a song. The first album he put out, people were all over that. I mean, John Cena can actually rap. And maybe it's because he's from Massachusetts. Maybe that's the thing. But he can rap. Macho Man, yeah, but it's just hearing him rap, and not to say that he doesn't have some lyrics. He does have some lyrics, but I gotta look it up real quick.
Yeah,
My
'cause
friend Mondo put me onto that,
I'm
man.
gonna need that.
Okay, I
I've
got you.
got to have it. I'm gonna write that down, and when we finish up, I'm gonna
Yeah,
search that out and I'm gonna listen to it because my brain just went in so many different directions hearing Macho Man Randy Savage.
yes. The
Yeah.
album came out in 2005. It's called "Be a Man." Be a Man by Macho Man Randy Savage. And yes, Macho Man Randy Savage is his artist name. Shout out to my homie Mondo that showed me that album. And I laugh because it's like you would never think Macho Man. You hear him, you know how he sounds,
Yeah, I
and
know that.
everything.
That's why I've got to find this album and listen to it because
Yeah, man.
I, there's no words there
Yeah.
for what is going on inside my head right now. I think you have messed up the rest of this interview because all I'm going to hear in my head for the rest of the night is, "Oh yeah!" This night, that's all I'm going to hear.
Exactly.
Every time I
That's
ask a
that's all anybody's
question,
gonna hear, man.
whenever I ask a question, that's what I'm going to hear in the back of my head at the end of the question. So I'm going to try to ask another one without hearing that. What is the creative process for making beats?
Okay, so for me, I mentioned it before. Man, sometimes I could be at work, I could be watching TV, I could even be playing the video game, I could be exercising. For me, it's got to a point to where I can hear. It's always a melody. It's always a melody. I can hear a melody in my mind, and I'll just memorize it. Or what I like to do now, because I have a music Instagram page and a photography Instagram page. The music Instagram page is LeVan The Man _ and I'll voice record myself humming the melody, and then I'll end up making the drum pattern like the 808s or the kicks, and then I add on to the melody. I usually do one part at a time, obviously, because I can't make all the music in one sound. That'd be amazing. But I'll break it down, and then I'll send that voice recording to my photography Instagram. That's S3 Visuals, SIII Visuals, and I'll leave it there. Sometimes when I get the chance, when I come home, sometimes I'll get right to it, or I'll just leave it there for if I have a moment where I don't have any inspiration for the music. When I first started off doing it, like with my phone, um, usually it came from listening to other artists or other artists or producers. Um, Usually I would start off with the 808s or the drums, just the drums in general. I usually started with the drums, and then I'd start to layer on some chords, maybe some keys, some synthesizers. Not all of those at the same in the same arrangement or track, but it kind of varies from there. But usually, whenever I hop into my DAW, I'll start off with an intro and then build up that intro onto a like the chorus or the hook, or maybe even the yeah. Usually it's the intro, and then I build up the intro to a chorus or hook. Then I'll let that play for a while, and I'm like, okay, so this is what the main part of the song is gonna sound like. The first 30 to 45 seconds of the song is gonna sound like this. And after I build the beat, that's when I start to break it down. I'll start to take out a couple of things. I may take out a couple of ear candy pieces from the song. Um, I like to layer instruments to give it depth, so that that's like the chorus. Or when I build it, when I deconstruct the beat, that's when I'll take out a couple of notes. Or I'll go from a high pitch to a low pitch, high key to a low key, and usually after I get that hook and the hook, I get the verse, and then I'll get my bridge in between the hook and the verse and the hook, and that's it. Um, I found out by playing around in my DAW that it has it has like a labeling system. So basically, from the start, you click on the header and you can change it from intro to hook, verse, bridge to outro. So that is what helped me form my beats into actual like songs for people to sing or rap or record over. Before it would just be I might just have the beat just drop, like there's no build up or anything to it, and that is how some producers or how some artists do their songs, and that can cause a song to be like 2 minutes or a minute and 40 something. Um, and then I started to refer back to how music used to be in the 90s, 2000s, where some people, like, the intro would be like almost a minute. And then I worked with another producer, and he was like, if you're gonna make beats for artists to record over, about 15 seconds is probably your ideal time for the beat to drop, because depending on the artist, they might just want to get on the beat and just start off like that. I feel like it's different for specific recording artists though. You might want to have the beat build up, and then you might want to have the beat to just be subtle, and that could be your verse, and then you drop the hook, and the hook just goes boom, and that's where everything kind of comes together. Um, but yeah, my music process is melody, okay, boom, hook, chorus, break the beat down to the verse, and then I can break it down even more to get the intro and the bridge.
How many beats have you created? Roughly. Roughly. I mean, I'm sure you don't have an exact number, but roughly.
If we're talking about from when I first started, which was 2011, fall 2011, it could easily be like it could easily be like maybe 2K 2000, cuz when I started off in 2011, I used my phone. I know a good portion of those beats are trash, but at that time I just knew it was hot. And then I would listen to who I was inspired by, and I'm like, yeah, it's not there, but it's gonna get there. And then when I really started to study music and listen to music and play it by ear and things of that nature, that's when I was like, okay. So my first beat in like 20 was it 2015? 2015, 2016 is when I sold my first beat. I was like, wow, I did it. I got my music to a point to where somebody can record over it. And yeah, man, it could easily be from at least 2K, because over the past over the past like 4.5 years, I've got to a point to where every month I'm making beats. Every week I'm making beats. Every week I can make like this week. So far this month, I've made one, two, probably like 5 to 8 beats. Excuse me. Um, so yeah, my workflow continues to. The more that I'm doing this, the easier it becomes. And with the way that my workflow is with beats, it's like it gets to a point where it becomes too easy. And I ain't gonna say it becomes too easy. Let's not say that. The formula is what makes it easy, but trying to make a different sound is the challenge because you don't want to. I mean, maybe you do want to have a specific sound, but at the same time, you want to have a variety, and that's what I tend to strive for is switching up something. Um, but yeah, man, like I could easily say 2,000. I could probably even say 3,000, man. Like every year, I have a catalog on my Google Drive, and I go through, and I'm like, dang, I started like the beginning of this year. I started doing this, and I go through that whole point of what am I gonna sell, what am I gonna keep, or how am I gonna go about using each one. So yeah, man, easily like 2 to 3,000 at least.
What is the biggest lesson you've learned since you created your first beat?
The biggest lesson I think that's a pretty good question, man. The biggest lesson that I learned, um, keep going. You can apply that to anything, but when it comes to the music, is to keep going. Try some. Be open to different things. You know, don't stay in a narrow mind when it comes to creating. When it comes to reaching, completion, you want a tunnel vision, of course, but don't be afraid to try a different preset or a plugin or try a different sound because you'll never know where that sound may lead. It may bring you to a whole different audience, you know. Um it can shift the way you make music overall. It can even influence you to listen to other artists. And whenever I come up with a different sound and I send it or I show it to somebody, like a couple of my homies, Jordan and Carell, those are probably the two that I've started showing my beats to because they already knew that that's what I did. I make beats, I make music, I make beats and not freestyle. So, um, you definitely have an open mind when it comes to sound, to expanding your sound. Don't be afraid to just post your music, um, and share it because how are people going to hear it if you're not posting it or if you're not sharing it? When I say share it, whether it's your coworkers, your friends, your family, usually you want to go outside of your family because you want to go over people who you don't know or that you don't hold too close. Not to say that in a negative way, but I basically outside of your family because what I found out is strangers tend to show more love than the people closest to you. And that's just through experience. When it comes to your art, when it comes to what you create, you know, you're always a lot of the times your family and close ones will support you, but it could be in a different way and not necessarily the way that you need for your art to go, in that direction. But yeah, man. I mean,
Well, do you
excuse me.
think joining a community like Venue Music and sharing your art with them, do you think that is a good idea for a producer or just
Yeah,
anyone in general that makes music?
yes, most definitely. Um, few things that people might struggle with before they even do that or they think about doing that is that's my competition. I don't want anybody to steal my sound. But you gotta realize everybody has a different workflow. Excuse me. Good stuff right there. Everybody has a different workflow. So even if y'all may sound alike, if you're gonna have something that's gonna make you stand out, and it could literally be your workflow or the way you promote yourself. I feel like that's a major thing. When it comes to this music industry, a lot of people want to sound in their own way. I say a select people want to make this specific sound, but a lot of people go for what sounds hot. Even me as a producer, I'll pick up on what certain producers make or certain artists make, and I'll be like, okay, let's try that. I'll always struggle with it though, and you can hear from my brother Carell. I never like making type beats. A type beat is a beat that a specific artist would rap over or sing to, whatever the case may be. I despised that for the longest time because I was so fixed on I need to make my sound. I don't want my music to sound like anybody else. I want my shit to sound like anybody else's shit. Let's just leave it like as raw as it is. That's how I felt about it. And it took me like what was it, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago? I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to what he's saying and see how it goes. And boom, I mean, it made a difference because not only does it help you expand your sound, but when it comes to the whole like searching for music, if you make a type beat for a popular artist, it's usually gonna pop up because you type that in and it's a whole, like algorithm searching thing. So it's a positive. I feel like it is a positive thing once you learn how to do that. Plus, everybody strives for originality, but to be honest, we all are influenced and inspired by others who've done it before us. And that's part of the reason why we do it. That's part of why we do it.
Has anyone ever come to you with an idea and ask you to create a beat based off their idea or their emotion?
Yes, yes. Recording artists and producers. Um, when I was with the Saucy Tribe, is a group really focused on producers, but there were some recording artists. Shout out to Nova on the track, or St. Louis Nova. He and I, and even to this day, by the way, bro, I'm working on those sounds. I know you asked for some. I'm working on them, trying to make sure it's all right set for you. But he he makes good music. He influenced me, believe it or not. He's one of the people that influenced me. He has worked with artists. I can't name the artist um who he's worked with off the top of my head, but his sound is like you're gonna hear his music. You can hear his beats on the radio. You can hear it in movies, TV shows. I believe he's worked in the sync license business. Don't take my word all the way, but I want to say he has. But he and I have exchanged packs before. He sent me some, and I've used some in one of my beat tapes. It's called 29, or a beat album. It's called 29 XXIX. The song is called Redundancy, and again, going back to emotions and mental, that song, I was going through something like relationship wise, and I made that beat with his loops and some of my own, and I think that may have been one of the top songs on there that that's been streamed or played. But yes, definitely I've had people come to me and say, "Hey man, can you make it sound like this, or can you make me a beat?" And I'm like, "Okay, what are you looking for?" something that sounds like some like older stuff, and boom, I'll start working on that. That whole process with that is, for me, whenever I want to work with the artist, I usually tend to listen to their catalog. I like to get an idea of what they sounded like and what they're sounding like. That way I can base off what I'm gonna start with from their sound. But I'm always gonna have my flavor to it. I'm always gonna have my sauce into that. So yeah, and it's fun too, cause it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and it's for me. It's like an experimenting thing. Like I'm in the lab or I'm in the kitchen, and I got ingredients from them. Put it with my ingredients. See what kind of entree I make, and boom, you know.
Well, since music is changing all the time and artists' sounds are changing all the time, do
Mm-hmm.
you think you'll ever stop learning about music?
No, I don't think so. Over the past shoot, man, this the beginning of this year, this whole year, um, I started working with artists, recording artists. Um, some who produce, not as much. And I'm learning from them. I'm learning things in the DAW, the digital audio workstation, from them. Learning how to make leveling voices, vocals. That's always been a struggle for me. So excuse me. That's always been a struggle for me. Is that learning how to do the vocal mastering, and it's so cool, man. It's so fun because I'm learning from them. And usually when people come to me for music, they're like, "Bro, your beats are hard. Your beats are dope. Um, how you do what you do?" And then I just tell them how I've told you earlier before, man. It's like sometimes, bro, I just have a sound going on in my head, or I heard a soundtrack in a movie or a video game, and I'm like, all right, let me cook up real quick. Let me put my style to it, and then boom. And usually, I like to credit who I got inspired by when it comes to that stuff, because a lot of the times I try to strive to make it sound similar to it, so people can recognize that sound, all the while putting my style to it. Um, yeah, man, it's a thing of wanting to you have these goals that you want to reach with music, and in order to reach those goals, you have to step out of boundaries when it comes to creation, the creative side of it. Um, you have to you have to be able to you have to be teachable. That's the thing. You have to be teachable, be able to learn, apply what you know, and maybe you have to forget what you know, unlearn what you know to start doing something. Usually, what you know ends up coming tied back to it, and you apply it. But yeah, I'll continue to learn, man. I can't say that I won't. I cause and solely because I'm not the best yet. I'm not the best yet. I have some accolades, but I don't have the ones that I want. I would like to win a Grammy off of my production. I'm gonna shoot for the moon and aim for the stars. I get a Grammy. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. And even if I win a Grammy when I'm 60 years old, hey, I want a Grammy. Of course, I would like to get that within the next 10 years. Heck, 5 years even be cooler. But the people I'm working in right now, I think I'm in that direction, that right direction. And at this point, it's like I have to keep going. I have to keep going. I had two artists send me something earlier last week, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, bro, you're getting there. You got people who can you have people who can rap, who can make music, and they make the type of music that you like, and they're saying stuff that you relate to. You know you're not the only person relating to this type of stuff. So now you gotta do your part and help them get their message out there, and continue to do that and work with others to do the same thing.
Who have you worked with that I might know?
You start off with Saxman. Saxman. That is who I have worked with. That is uh yeah, Saxman. I want to say so Saxman, dope culture, and if you don't know, if I'm not mistaken, dope culture might be in your state. If I'm not mistaken, he might be in your state, man. I'm gonna have to send you a link to his music so you can check him out. That's the that's the homie. I just gotta say it like that. Dope culture. Shout out to you, man. I'm working on our stuff too. Don't think I'm neglecting you, bro. I'm just trying to get things lined up. But the Sax Man, Dope Culture, Darth Martin,
Right.
um, Admonish Music. Um, who else have I worked with that you might know? I think those are the I'm gonna say those are the only ones that you may know. It's mainly people from the community, from venue music. Um, but I've been locked in with dope culture. Oh yeah, and Doc Cav. I don't know if you heard of Doc Cav, but he's another person from there. Um, and they're from different states. They're all in the United States, but they're from different areas in the United States. You got the West, the East, um, South, Southeast, um, and it's cool because it's like I knew I was gonna get to this point. Um, did I know it was gonna be online or in person? No, but I knew it was gonna be one of the two. But yeah, those are the guys that I've worked with. The first track that I dropped out of venue was with Dope Culture, and it's called ILO or ILO, which is abbreviation for I'm like okay, and I'm like okay. It's a song with Dope Culture featuring his brother Rondo on the nine or Rondo the Demon, and I made that beat like years ago, man. I made it like 2 3 years ago, and I think that's the wonderful thing about music. You can have something that's old, but it can become something new to somebody else, and if they like it, I mean, they like it, and it's like, well, shoot, I know I like it. When I put it out, people liked it, but if somebody likes it enough to record on that beat, hey, we gonna make it happen, cause you may never know what's gonna come from it. So yeah, you got that. Then of course you got Invasion, the whole album with Saxman. It started off with New Moon, which was another old beat that I made, and I was just sending beats that I made to him. I sending beats that I made for him to use or to rap. Actually, it wasn't even for him to rap on. It was for him to play his saxophone on, because I wanted him to play the sax on the songs. But he started rapping. I ain't never known Saxman to rap. I just knew he was an instrumentalist because he plays other instruments. But when he started rapping, I was like, whoa, he's rapping? And I was like, okay, he's spitting, low key, he's spitting. We go. I guess it's gonna be a saxophone slash like rap album, like a beat album slash rap album, and we made it. And uh, God bless him, man. Rest in peace to him. Rest in paradise to Saxman, to Harold. Um, yeah, man. He definitely made an impact on what I'm doing right now and what I want to do with other artists. And then we have Admonish Music, the OG, one of the OGs of venue, Delory Enterprises, the one and only. That man has so much knowledge, and I am thankful for God for him because, and I'm thankful for God, thanking God for myself because what I created and what I made is what drew these people that I've mentioned to you towards me. And so I'm just very thankful of that. And they want to work with me. They worked with me and want to work with me and are working with me. And to know that these people are on the caliber, I'm putting them on a high caliber because the music they make and then how they go about their stuff. Admonish is dope, man. That's a cool dude. Dope culture's cool too. Saxman is cool too. They're all humble people. Um, and I can tell by the interactions I've had and having with them, they want to see me shine, and I can only reflect what they're showing to me. I can only reciprocate that energy. So I'm really thankful of those guys. And I got Viv. That's another person. Vivid PTS Vivid. That's a person I'm working with too. Um, Again, these are mostly people from the community, but yeah, man. Me at Monish got something in the works. Me at Monish and Dope Culture got something in the works. That's all I gotta say. I probably shouldn't even said that, but it's what it is. Y'all just stay tuned.
Well,
Look out for some heat.
it's something to look forward to. So you've
Mm-hmm.
answered one of my questions, which is what should we look forward to, or what should fans look forward to, or what are you working on right now? So you've
Yeah.
answered that, but you haven't answered what is your most useless talent?
Procrastination. Hey, I call it a talent because I do it a lot. I do it like I'm breathing, man.
So you're really good at it. All right.
I'm really good at it.
What do you do for fun?
Aside from making beats, I play video games. I guess that is a useless talent because I'm not getting paid to do it. Eventually, I would like to stream like on Twitch or Kick and get paid for streaming and playing video games because it looks so cool and I follow some people. I'm gonna give a shout out to them. Um, you got Easy Gang, which consists of Burleezy, as people know him as Burleezy. Um, that's his thing, and then you have some bros, which kind of falls under that same thing. That's Burleezy. That's DJ Ico or Ico Beats. He's a DJ. Dude makes dope mixes. Um, you got PG or Physical Gamers. He's dope. I've actually like had a couple messages with him before, and it's cool because these are regular people, and for them to take the time because they got thousands, if not millions, of people that message them all the time and make things for them. They're artists as well. They're streamers, but they're artists. I feel like streaming is another art form because you usually are your true self when it comes to this, and interacting with people not only from the same country but across the whole world. Um, but yeah, PG's somebody I've interacted with. He's cool, chit chat every now and then. Then you have Krista, you have Poised, you have Rock, which is Rico, Rico the Giant. You have Mari. Um, Sorry if I'm leaving anybody else out. Oh, Jojo the Mofo. I can't forget that dude. That's another person. Jojo the Mofo is another person that I've interacted with, like through messaging and stuff like that. He's cool too, man. He's a cool guy. I like him because he has a sense of dark humor, and I'm a dark humor person. I love to laugh, but when it comes to dark humor, I think it's cool when you can find somebody who's into that. I'm not gonna go into any detail, obviously, but he's funny. That dude's hilarious, man. Shout out to him too, and for everything that they all have went through, they're still going, and it's very inspirational. And part of the reason why I keep going is because they continue to share some of the things they go through, and they continue to help people just through just this basic interaction like we're having talking. Of course you don't want to be a parasocial person and get caught up in being in somebody's chat and like, oh, I'm real cool with you. Let me like blow you up on your DM, all that. Yeah, that's you know, like Vince McMahon said, but yeah, those dudes, man, shout out to them because they got a whole movement now and they influence a lot of people and we all make mistakes and we learn from them and we continue to grow, and it's just cool to to interact with them type of people, man. It's pretty cool. It's pretty dope.
Well, you say you like playing video games, and you've made reference to beats being the music in video games. Have you ever played a video game, turned down the music, or turned down the volume of the game and played your beats in the background?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Shoot, man, I remember when I used to play like WWE SmackDown versus Raw, before I knew how to like upload my beats to a console or anything like that, I would literally, like, it made a difference. It made a difference to me, but I would literally turn down the video game music when my superstar makes his entrance. I would turn that down and play my beat, and I'm like, yeah, now my guy's coming out to my music, or or when I'm playing shoot, even with Cyberpunk 2077 is probably one of my most favorite games that's been out. It's been out for a while, but I started to play it like within the last year, and I've been inspired by some of the tracks they have on there. In fact, there is one track that I've made that was inspired by that. It was a couple of songs on there, but yeah, like whenever I get on a motorcycle in that game and I'm just driving around, I'll just play some of the music that I've recently made, and it kind of goes with that aesthetic of the game because it's like a futuristic dystopian time where basically technology is more popular than the humanity itself. And so it's like that whole battle, just to break it down, it's a whole battle of like man versus nature. You know, it's become more of creation of man and being more technologically connected than like naturally connected. And so it's like a battle of your soul versus being soulless because you're tied to machines. And it's crazy to say that because a lot of people don't like AI, but if you use AI to a certain degree, it it really, I mean, it's all for an advancement. That's why it's here. It's going to become more relevant, a lot more relevant now.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
I mean, it.
you know what I mean? And some people use it just for vocals. Some people use it to create an idea. Chat GPT. The other day, not to sidetrack, but yesterday, my coworker did epic battles. He did an epic battle between Ghost Rider and Silver Surfer. I think Ghost Rider won. Then he did Ghost Rider versus Goku, and that was a stalemate. Then he did another Ghost Rider one. Ghost Rider is that dude. I don't think people understand it, and I didn't. I liked him because I had a thing with skulls, and he's got the whole biker thing going on, and I like that whole aesthetic. But beyond that, man, Ghost Rider is that guy. He can beat the Silver Surfer. If he can beat the Silver Surfer, he beat Galacticus. He can beat the Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer is a cosmic being who channels energy, uses meditation, and channels energy from the cosmos, bro. Ghost Rider beat that dude. now, now to go back to AI and music and video games. Yes, I most definitely play my music when I'm playing video games. Even like I'll play Fortnite. I love Fortnite. It's fun. Um, I'll find myself playing my music while I'm playing Fortnite. Shoot, just about any game except for horror games because you need to have a you need to pay attention to what's creeping up on you.
So is some.
But yeah, man, I definitely play my music in video games. I try to mix my passions. Video game is probably my third passion next to photography and music. But yeah, man, I always do that.
So as somebody who does use meditation, and somebody
Mm.
who makes beats and understands frequency, are there any frequencies that you use while making beats that maybe you learned about while studying meditation or doing meditation? Are there any
There
frequencies?
are a few. Shoot, I'm gonna just look for reference because I'm still learning that. I actually want to get to a point where I can make like a meditation album, and I think I'm getting closer to that. Be solely based off of how I use my synths, and like I always talk about using those and the pads, the synthesizer pads. Those are like one of the main keys to that type of music and the type of frequency and feelings that it gives. Um, so you have there's like so many. I'm gonna just look for reference. The 111 hertz, and that's one of them. I know I've seen like there's 1111. It's almost like a lot of it's associated with like angel numbers, and that's like the repetition of the same number. Usually it's like in threes. And yes, even 666 is associated as an angel number as well, even though most people generalize it as something to do with the evil dude, the devil. But I'm still learning, and I think that's part of why I'm listening to this music. I go on YouTube and I will look for sleep aid videos, and it's usually something to do with a certain frequency. I have not yet directly applied it to my music, but that is something I am working on. That is something I will definitely implement and share with everyone. I'm definitely going to have some of those. I feel like I'm right there. I'm getting very close to it.
Well, they say certain frequencies are tied to certain emotions. Do you think that you could incorporate those frequencies into your music, or because there are different frequencies that go with those emotions? Maybe you want this beat to be very, very sunny and very bright and put you in the mood of happiness. Or you want this beat to be kind of just casual and laid back and just very mellow, and then incorporate a frequency into that. Or you want this beat to be aggressive and kind of in your face. So you need to put a little bit different frequency in that. Do you
Oh yeah, for sure.
do you think
I start to.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
I say that to say this. Do you think
Mhm.
the beat makers, producers that are just out there on the biggest albums, working with the biggest artists, do you think they understand frequency and the emotions and feelings that are tied to frequency?
Yes, I do. I really do. Um, I make a lot of references to rap and hip hop because the more popular sounding music, it really goes to the negative side of it when it comes to what sells, you know. And like I said, yes, I'll listen to some of that music. I do it again in moderation. I don't make it a purpose to listen to it all the time. And when I do listen to it for a certain amount of time or like a lot, I find myself going back to what I usually like. And I've had this discussion with my friends before. It's like, yeah, it's cool, but let's change it up, bro. We'll switch to something different. Um, but back to your question, yes, these 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 big name producers are aware of what they're doing, and the artists are aware of what they're doing, and that's why they work with these producers. It could be because that's their sound and they like it, but I think to a certain point, you know what kind of energy your music brings to people and how it makes people react, how people act off the music. That's why people make the type of music. Um, Again, drill music is cool to an extent because there's storytelling behind it, but it comes with a lot of like negativity. It's usually talking about death or doing negative things in that sense. Um, Again, that stuff sells. That's just a part of how the music industry is. For some reason, they love to sell that type of stuff. I ain't gonna go into too much detail into it, but y'all could look that up for yourselves of how that goes and how that works. Um, but yeah, everybody should know the producers are aware because whoever, even if they're independent, they're aware. But if they're signed with labels, they know because the labels are only gonna push what they want to push. They're gonna push what they want to push.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's just how it is, you know. That's the dark side of the music. That's the tip of the iceberg of the dark side of the music industry. You know, there's a whole lot of things beneath the tip of the iceberg that goes involved with how music is made, why it's made, and who it's driven to or who it attracts. And in return, that goes with the whole thing with numbers and how that fluctuates with who's popular, who's hot and who's not. Who's hot and who's not. And I feel like every decade you can see it and you can see how it goes. Um drill music, and I talk about it a lot because that's what's really popular. And that's from everywhere. I mean, it's everywhere now. It really started, I think, to my knowledge, I think I can call the founder of like drill music would be Chief Keef, and he's from Chicago. And I like Chief Keef's music. I remember the first time I heard his song "I Don't Like." Real quick, it was a cool interaction I've had. I'm downtown. I'm in the truck. My mother went into the bank. Just listening to the radio. Two dudes pop up and they're like, "Hey, what's good?" You know, we have an interaction. You know, I don't know them at all. You know, stranger danger, don't know him at all. But we were cool, so we're talking and whatever. And he's like, "Hey man, I got this CD. By the way, this is when burned CDs were still a
Right?
thing. That's gonna tell you about my age, okay? Burned
I've burned a
CDs,
few CDs in my day.
of course, of course. But these gentlemen gave me this CD, and the CD was titled "I Don't Like," and it's by Chief Keef. And they played a song. The beat was hard. Young Chop, that's another producer who made a staple in how hip hop and rap music sounds to this day. If he don't get his flowers, y'all are wrong for everything. Anyway, they played that song. I liked it. Again, that's a song that I can work out to. But he's basically talking about things he doesn't like. He doesn't like certain people. Let's just leave it at that vague statement. He doesn't like these type of people. Basically anybody who's doing stuff against him or what he's for. And that song is like it's a good song. I can't help it. It's a good song. The beat's hard, the lyrics are hard. The lyrics are pretty simple to understand because he's directly telling you what it is. But even if you're not from where he's from, you can relate to it. And I think that's a part of the side of music that a lot of people are drawn to, even if it's at a negative frequency. I'm not saying all of his music is like that, but a lot of the music that he sold was like that. Like I said, I call him a pioneer because when he made that song, following with other songs, everybody started to make music like that. And believe it or not, it's people from the streets that live in the streets that's their lifestyle, and they end up having the talent with music and they apply it, and it's cool for them to do that. A lot of times I think that those people do it to get out of that situation they're in. And I mean, again, that's another side of the music that I can enjoy. I think most people do that, but when you're able to get somebody from a certain living standard that's able to use their talent to get them out of where they came from, I think is a beautiful thing. I really do think it is, um, and I commend them for doing that, And I think it's important for people who make music to talk about what they've been through and what they came from. So again, that's kind of like that double edged sword for me when it comes to listening to that type of music. I'm not from where they're from, but to hear their story and to hear what they've been through, I think it's a good thing to try to understand. Of course, there's some artists, and I'm just throwing this as a whole statement, a vague statement. There's some artists that are going to say things that people don't like, and some people talk about the dead. Some people talk about the dead in the most disrespectful way, the most disrespectful way, and it's like, dang, that was somebody's family, but they don't care. It's a whole crazy cycle about that thing. But to go back to the whole frequency thing in music, um, yeah, these people know what they're doing. People know what they're doing. Um, I don't care. Sorry for that. I don't care how people try to paint it the way that they do, but we're all aware. Not we're all aware, but people know. People are aware. 9 times out of 10, the people who make it are aware. The people who they're signed with are aware. And to each their own. You're gonna make the music you want to make, and that helps you. That helps you. Again, I'm all for music. Part of why I'm making music because it's an outlet for me to express myself the same way that those people do it. We're one and the same, just from different circumstances and backgrounds with a different message. So, but yeah.
Well, I said earlier that I like songs that tell stories. And country music, not the new stuff, the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those songs told stories, and I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
Rap and hip hop, do those songs tell stories?
Yes. I can go back to what I was talking about with drill music and that type of music. A guy named King Von, he passed away, he lived by the sword, died by the sword, needless to say. One of his popular songs is a storytelling song, and you feel like you're in that story. You can go back to when it started, the hip hop started. Slick Rick was one of those people. That's like the storytelling guru, the staple of storytelling with rap. And it's it's so cool because, you know, usually when rap was made, it was talking about what you've been through, almost again like blues and jazz, or mainly blues, because it comes from, that blue feeling or that blue emotion. But yeah, rap and hip hop definitely do it. DMX, Darkman X, if y'all didn't know, DMX. Um, I watched a recent interview with him, and he said on every album he made, he makes it a point to have like a gospel type song, or a song that's like associated with how do I say, I guess positivity, light coming from the darkness. Um, One of my favorite songs that I think I play almost every month, at least once or twice. It's called "Slipping." I'm slipping and I'm falling. I got to get up. But that's like the whole premise of that is like you're going through something, and you rather it's through addiction or it's just with any type of addiction. There's numerous types. But as you're trying to fight through that, you're going to fall, you're going to get knocked down. But as you said, you got to get up. You got to find it in yourself to have the discipline and the willpower to recognize that falling back into this bad habit is very deconstructive to who you are. And I think that's one of the things about DMX that some people don't understand. DMX makes a lot of like roughneck music, if you will. A lot of that hard stuff. You know, I mean, he barks in his he barks, bro. Like everybody was doing. He made people bark, bro. He made people growl. I mean, to this day, like my little sister, when we were listening to DMX, oh, she loved DMX. Yes, I'm talking about you, DJ. So if you see this, I put you on blast. But anyway, um, yeah, like the hip hop tells stories. Again, when it started in, if I'm not mistaken, the mid to late '80s, it all started from what people were doing. You know, people were at the park doing XYZ, and then you go forward to another decade and it changed. A lot of the stuff changed. You know, people are talking about how they came up, they got out the mud, um, or even if it's not associated with how they got out the mud, they could be talking about their love life and or their friendship, or like with Ice Cube, it was a good day. He talking about how from the beginning of the day all the way up to the end of the day, and then he ends it off with a contradictory statement like, "What the hell am I talking about? What the fuck am I talking about?" And then he just cuts the song off. But again, it's it's usually a story behind it. I feel like the root of it, where it all started, was from storytelling. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it. You know, you have different artists who tell a story differently. Some people are telling a story about materialistic things. Some people are talking about circumstances or situations they went through. And the thing about rap and hip hop, man, it's universal. It's universal. And if you want to think about it, I think in every corner of the world, there are rappers. There are. There just are. I mean, you got people across the world who love Wu Tang. Wu Tang forever. Wu Tang for the children. Wu Tang's everywhere. Everywhere. Tupac's everywhere. Drake everywhere. But that just goes to show you how powerful hip hop is. And for other people wanting to become rappers and they speak a different language, everybody wants to have an outlet to tell their story. So whether people like hip hop or not, whether you like it or not, you gotta give it its props, because a lot of people want to be able to do what others did and tell their story, no matter where they from.
What do you think about people that combine hip hop and country or hip hop and rock?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Again, I do it myself. When you go back to Rock This Way, Walk This Way, Aerosmith and Run-DMC, when that first
Awesome.
came out, and
Classic.
go
I
ahead, go
mean,
ahead.
that's classic. You can't beat that song. Period.
No, you can't. That was the staple that brought two different crowds together, and to hear how they went back and forth in the song and then they came together with the hook, it was like, what? Come on, man. Hey, look, that's part of why I wear these guys. That's kind of why I wear the bucket hat, because like, come on, man. It's universal. This style came from what Run DMC did, man. And the genre blending goes on and on. um a lot of the times I do see rap or hip hop being involved with that. You can fast forward to like the 2000s. Believe it or not, Korn, the rock metal band, they made a song. They made a few songs with Ice Cube. They made a few songs with Ice Cube.
Really?
One of the most popular songs, yes, yes, yes. The one of the most popular songs is called "Fuck Dying," and that was on Ice Cube's. I think it was War and Peace. I want to say that's what it's called. Yeah, that song is
Now I'm
fire.
gonna have to look that up on the way
You
home.
got to.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm putting you on to some music, man, because that's part of why I do this,
Well,
man. But
I
anyway,
like corn. I do. I like the
Yeah,
band.
Korn is
It's
awesome.
they got a unique sound, and I enjoy it.
Yes,
And I like Ice
yes.
Cube. And you're saying they got together and had oh,
Yeah,
oh
man. And not a lot of people
but
know. Not a lot of people
what's the
know.
name of the album? Or how do I look?
Um, I can check right now. I know for sure the song is called "Fuck Dying" because I mean he makes it a point that that's what it's
Okay.
about, and the whole premise of it is like Ice Cube is basically talking to uh it's either a demon or the devil, and I believe it seems like he's in a crossroads. But Ice Cube is like, nah, I'm not with that shit, bro. I'm not. Fuck all that, you know.
Okay.
Um, I'm about to go to it right now. I'm looking at it right now. It's called War and Peace Volume
That's
One.
the name of the album.
That's the name of the album. It's an Ice Cube album,
Okay.
but the fourth track is called "Fuck Dying" and it features
War
Korn
and Peace, what?
Volume One.
Okay.
Yeah, man. That song is so dope, and it's beautiful. Like when I say it's beautiful, I'm talking about the production. Like when you hear,
Y-
because the band is
Could
playing, the Korn is playing.
could you write a song that
Hmm.
Korn would play?
I think so. I think it's possible. I tell you what, I say I can because I have worked with the one man band Darth Martin, and he and I have made a couple of tracks, but I want to sit down with him and make something from scratch because his music is amazing. I like his music. He loves my music. He likes mine. I like his music. We like each other's music. I think it's bound to happen that we can create something like that. Um,
Why not?
yeah, man, that whole genre thing it's what it is. I'll say another one. I'll say another couple actually. Um, Atlanta-based rap group called Dem Franchise Boys or DFB. They made us that's the second to my knowledge the second group who's made music with Korn. Again, Korn strikes back with genre blending with rap and rock. Um, what was it? The song was featured on NFL Street 2. And if I'm not mistaken, it's called Coming Undone with It. And it's a mix with Coming Undone by Korn and Lean With It, Rock With It by Them Franchise Boys. When that came out, I think that was probably like one of the hardest blends ever. Cause again, it brought two different groups together. If they didn't ever listen to Korn, they didn't ever listen to Them Franchise Boys. When they heard that, it was like, yo, like that was a football song.
All right. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have
I'll
to.
send you the links,
I'm
man.
gonna have to listen to all this before I go to bed tonight. And
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. It's too
all
cool,
right,
man.
all right. It's getting a little late, and now you've given me a ton of homework that I didn't want, but I'm sure I'm going to thoroughly enjoy because I'm a huge fan of music, and
Hmm.
some of these artists that you've named, I'm a fan of. And then you combine those artists and songs that I already enjoy. And now it's homework that I'm sure I'm going to enjoy. So,
Oh yeah,
all
yeah.
right. Well, yeah, if you could shoot me some links or something, that would be awesome. If not, I'm sure I can find it some way, somehow. But
No, I got you.
is there anything else you would like your fans to know about you before we end this interview?
Huh. Um, I reply to DMs. If you're interested in making music or just learning about how I go about it, you can hit me up on Instagram, LeVan The Man _ Um, if you are a creator, do not stop, no matter how difficult it becomes, no matter how difficult that internal battle becomes. You can win. It's you versus you versus you. There's a person I recently followed. Can't remember his name, but that's the real battle. That's the only fight that you really have to win is you versus you. You can win that battle. You're capable of doing anything you want. I'm going through that battle right now, and I seem to be going in the upper hand. You know, um, yeah. Don't quit doing what you love doing, and do it because you love doing it. If you choose to make it a business thing, learn the business side as much as you learn about the creative side. Um, yeah, man, never give up. Um, look within to find those answers. You'll find them. Be a teachable person. If you plan to grow, which everybody should, be a teachable person. Be willing to learn different things and go out of your comfort zone. Again, these are things that I'm going through. So I'm telling you basically what I'm going through that y'all can apply to yourselves. Never be afraid to share what you create. Only way people gonna know about you is if you put yourself out there. You literally have to sell yourself. Take that how you want it. Do it in the most positive way you can, and just keep going. Keep going, cause ain't nobody gonna do what you want except for you. Nobody's gonna do the things that you want to do better than you can for yourself. Don't wait for anybody. Even if somebody tells you to wait, if you can keep going and make it happen yourself, go ahead and do it. Again, be willing to learn, be willing to step out your comfort zone, and keep going.
All right. Well, I agree 100% with everything you just said. And I really enjoyed this interview. And I hope we can do it again sometime because guess what? I still have more questions.
I'm a chatterbox,
No, I
man.
mean that's cool. And no, if you look, and I don't, there's all kinds of questions that I've written just
Yeah.
based on things you've said,
Oh,
aside
really?
of questions that I had written before the interview even started. So yeah,
Oh, that's
I'm gonna
cool.
have to get me a couple of new sheets of paper because I mess these up writing stuff down. But I really had a good
Am I
time.
giving you a blueprint or
Huh?
something? I said, am I giving you a blueprint?
Yeah, you are, man. I'm gonna have to use different colored pens when I write on here because it's a mess. I'm gonna have to figure it out after I listen to some of these songs that you've suggested. So
Yeah, I'm
I
sending you
I
links right
have
now.
homework on top of homework, which is
Yeah.
all right. This kind of homework I don't mind. So,
Heck yeah.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of part two of my interview with LeVan the Man. If you enjoyed this, leave me a comment below. If you didn't enjoy this, leave me a comment below. If there are questions you would like me to ask LeVan that I haven't asked, leave those in the comments, and I'll definitely add those to the list of questions for next time. So this is Chris Schrum and LeVan the Man signing off. Cheers.